I didn't realize how strong the white supremacist community was in the anime community.
Sargon got banned because apparently he posted gay porn to his Twitter account.
JonTron comes out in full support of fascism. Case the pride.
Now, do you guys remember in how back in 2015 and 2016, the Black Lives Matter movement is rampant and everywhere as more and more black people get shot by the police? Well, January 2017 is a year where all of that just kind of stopped throughout the rest of the year, the moment where 4 black people kidnapped a disabled white guy, tortured him, and, stupidly enough, live streamed it on Facebook, maybe to get the attention of Satan Senpai. The video has the 4 black individuals saying F white people, F the president, and ever since then, I've never actually heard from the Black Lives Matter movement again. Like the movement just died all of a sudden. Yes, I know that the kidnapping has nothing to do with Black Lives Matter, but the movement itself is just not as big as it was back in the last 2 years ever since that event. Kind of weird, doesn't it? It's almost like the event was the world's final straw. They had enough of accepting the idea that black people didn't do nothing when in reality they didn't do nothing. What is it with native English speakers speaking like that? In TumblrRite news, I made a video where a bunch of TumblrRites are upset by the fact that a South Korean cosplayer darkened her skin so that she looks like Sombra from Overwatch. Despite the cosplay looking absolutely great, they complain because of brown face. As a brown guy, I found absolutely no issue with this, and anyone who does need to seek counseling. One of the most hilarious mistakes that I made in that video was I completely misnamed Sombra to Zarya. That video reminds me that I will never ever be good at doing it live. Sorry, O'Reilly. The end of the year is where things got real interesting because that was at the time where JonTron decided to do something that a lot of people are really pissed off at, and that is joining a stream with Sargon and sharing anti-SJW opinions. That video is coincidentally one of my most viewed videos of the year, and it's also one of my most embarrassing videos I've ever made because I produced the best quote that I've ever uttered in my entire life. Murdered someone to death, as opposed to murdered someone to where they live slightly longer than Misa Amane after radiation exposure. That's it for January, time for February.
So as far as I can tell, this new round of hit jobs on Felix started from the Wall Street Journal.
Ma'am. Anger this morning over a black market version of the popular video game Grand Theft Auto. 7 News has revealed.
February 2017 is the month where I turned from an 18-year-old TumblrRite into a 19-year-old edgelord. I began my conquest on being a 19-year-old edgelord by responding into an Anita Sarkeesian video, in which she ironically defended me. By the time I mentioned the name Anita Sarkeesian, a bunch of dogs are barking in the background trying to freaking assault her or something. And yes, that's right, she defended me. She used Far Cry 3, a game that essentially takes place in a tropical island in Southeast Asia, and complained how the stereotypical depictions of the natives in there are pretty racist. Well, I'm a native from a tropical island in Southeast Asia, and Far Cry 3 is one of my favorite games, so I think you're being the racist one here. She also sort of implied that shamans in Indonesia are very stereotypical, but unfortunately for you, Anita, they are not stereotypical, and they do exist even to this day. It's Anita Sarkeesian being Anita Sarkeesian, but that's just the beginning of Anita Sarkeesian's march into insanity in 2017. February is also a month where a bunch of rioters at Berkeley decided to, well, just riot, I guess. They riot because some gay guy named Milo Yiannopoulos decided to come into Berkeley to have a chat. The riot's gone so far as to wrecking ATM machines, destroying stores. It's quite a horrendous day, and the dogs really do not like it. Jesus Christ, hopefully I can move from this place. Anyway, what happened at Berkeley is quite a horrendous day. It's horrendous for free speech, it's horrendous for free expression, and it's also a horrendous day for the garbage bins lying around. Jesus Christ, give them a break, guys. February 2017 is also the time where PewDiePie got into a little bit of backlash for making Nazi jokes, including that time where he hired the funny guys to put in the "Death to all Jews" sign. Without recognizing the fact that all of those things are just jokes, people just jump into him and calling him a Nazi. But that's just the beginning of PewDiePie's actually rise in popularity. Yeah, despite the fact that he made Nazi jokes and calling out mainstream media and journalists, he's still incredibly popular even to this day. Maybe because he did nothing wrong. I discussed this entire controversy in detail by making a video response towards none other than Game Theory's Matthew Patrick, who made a video about PewDiePie with lots and lots and lots of misinformation. Well, that's it for February. Let's get to March.
You know, any of the things in the stream that could be considered weird sounding or off-putting, I probably agree with you that they were. So I hope you don't read too much into it.
I'm still making videos. Nice try, Wall Street Journal. Try again, motherfucker.
I began March with a video about Marvel Comics responding into another video talking about how politics and social justice have always been in comics. It's just that they've never actually specified what kind of politics that they're talking about, and not once have they referred to the absolute cringe fest that Marvel Comics was back in the day. Jesus Christ, even Marvel Comics already got these dogs barking. Actually, March 2017 is all about politics in media. I made a video replying to extra credits about how all forms of media is political. I disagree with them on that, and I made another video also disagreeing with an article talking about how politics should be shoved into pretty much everywhere. Also, remember that time where JonTron appeared in Sargon's stream talking about anti-SJW stuff? Well, JonTron, who is a terrible debater, was debating with Destiny about politics. Unfortunately, Destiny is much better at debating, and a lot of JonTron's words end up being misinterpreted, and his arguments being absolutely horrendous. I tried to avoid making more mistakes again in that video covering that event, but I end up making more anyway, and that is ironically more significant than the last JonTron video that I made. It turns out that Peanut Butter Gamer wasn't friends with JonTron even before he decided to talk garbage at him. Both videos still end up getting lots and lots of views anyway, so I guess I shouldn't complain. And speaking of JonTron, his little cameo in Ukulele got removed by the developers. This is also another video of mine that got popular, and thanks to JonTron being removed from Ukulele, lots and lots of people are pissed and demanding refunds left and right. Now that Ukulele is released, it's safe to say that it ends up being a pretty mediocre game in the end. So even if people are still going to buy your game regardless of JonTron's disappearance, you're not going to be saved by nostalgia, and they're going to be disappointed that the game is mediocre. Do not virtue signal, people. It will always backfire, and there's a high chance that your game is garbage if you actually did. Going back to Anita Sarkeesian again, March 2017 is the time where she micromanaged a Polygon journalist for wanting to fap to a character from Star Fox. Oh, Anita, you'd never cease to amuse.
Welcome to the special brand boycott advertiser-friendly edition.
And YouTubers are going broke right now, man. Like, there are a lot of YouTubers right now complaining about their ad revenue, but they're all...
2017 is a pretty freaking surprising year. Just 9 days into that year where I decided to hand over the duties of Marvel Comics reports to Diversity in Comics, Marvel decided to shove Indonesian politics in the form of referencing a protest that happened in Jakarta. It was about protesting the Indonesian government Ahok for basically criticizing the Quran, but that is considered hate speech and that he should be impeached or something. Well, unfortunately he did, thanks to the relentless mob rule and a bunch of people not doing basic freaking research. People who actually do some basic research has been constantly showing solidarity and support, including from my family surprisingly, so looks like I'm not the only one throwing a middle finger to these religious zealots. That event seriously pissed me off because as an Indonesian, we're taught values of respecting people from a different race, ethnicity, or religion. But I guess being a religious zealot means that you're going to think that your religion is the most perfect in the world, and if you disagree, then you should die or be kicked off of this country. That event also resulted in the artist being fired from the job and having his career ruined. Then again, what do you expect when an actual jihadist is writing your comic? Moving on from that mess, the fear of Pepe the Frog from 2016 continues all the way to 2017, where BBC decided to investigate the alt-right memes coming into France using ridiculously dark music and claiming that Pepe the Frog is going to destroy the French election. So I turned that entire video to be a lot more upbeat and adding my own sets of memes, but I have to give props to BBC because this video has managed to make Le Pen to be not elected. But from what I've heard, Le Pen is a horrendous candidate anyway, so I'm not sure if the memes actually work. Still, that doesn't make BBC complaining about it to be not hilarious, because it absolutely is. 2017 is also a time where I encountered Persona 5 for the first time. I made a video about Persona 5 and how the translations are garbage, even though it's not garbage, and people are just being horrendously nitpicky and being horrendously hypocritical. Unintentionally in that video, the costume that I wear has managed to make people assume that I am a member of the Velvet Room. Well, I wasn't at the time, but Igor decided to offer me a job because he likes the cut of my jib, so... yeah, now I'm working part-time in the Velvet Room, and thanks to you guys, I have to deal with the fact that the world is going to be consumed by shadows at 2021, and I'm the only one who has to micromanage the next blank sheet of paper high school dork that gets the demonic power. April 2017 marched on, and it gave us, well, this.
'Cause my sex junk is so much more than either.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Continuing the saga of Anita Sarkeesian, Anita made her final Tropes vs. Women video so that she can continue into her newest freak video. While that is definitely the last of Tropes vs. Women, that is not the last of Anita Sarkeesian.
Sweden's hate registry? PewDiePie. No. Why? Why are we still here?
One thing that I forgot to mention in April is that the yellow dollar sign has been rampant and that YouTube demonetization has been hitting big channels as of late thanks to PewDiePie. I did quite a bit of reporting on those events, including a video that I don't even have any memory of making at. The thing about the demonetization and apocalypse that happened during these few months is that while the effects are clearly there and a lot of content creators can definitely feel it, I'm only notified that my videos are not advertiser friendly only since November. So it took a while before YouTube actually notified that I'm one of the bad boys. Beyond the demonetization, I started off this month by talking about Wendy. Ah yes, the smug Wendy that has turned into a brief internet meme. The meme is thanks to Wendy just roasting everyone left and right on Twitter, and ever since then, they are 100% convinced that the one who is using that account is a smug anime girl. The meme is born, and then comes the porn to a lot of people's scorn while I grab some popcorn. One of my most successful videos this month is for some reason a video where I talk about how women are searching ultra-violent porn and that they prefer that instead of just vanilla porn. I find that quite bizarre, so I did a video reporting on that weird phenomenon without adding too much comment. There's also a video of mine talking about porn where I, without any hints of shame or irony, admitted that I am into edging and denied orgasm to the absolute unironic disgust of even the most degenerate of my viewers. Yeah, sorry about that. Actually, come to think of it, May 2017 is a pretty damn successful month for me. A video about how Warhammer is only for white kids got lots of views. There's a video about how Google is projecting itself to everyone by virtue signaling about how diversity and representation matters. That video also got popular. A video where I talk about traps is also pretty popular. Then there's also a video where I talk about how the Tokyo Ghoul fandom is sending death threats towards the creator for not making their ship canon. That video also got popular. May 2017 is a pretty damn successful year for me, to the point where I probably got exhausted, and the exhaustion started at the beginning of June. One of the most popular videos that I made in that month is about how extra credits misinterpreted a scene from Persona 5. I guess this is also a time where I'm starting to love the Persona series, and ironically in the extra credits video, I haven't even played Persona 5, I only watched the cutscene compilations. June 2017 was also that time where that chick from Rebel Media, as far as I remember, decided to come into the stage of the play of Caesar, telling people how it's violence against the right without understanding the context of the story. She's completely embarrassing herself in that situation, and frankly, it only results in absolute cringe. This is one of the few videos where I actually criticize the right. I mostly criticize the left because they're mostly the ones who are doing the dumbest of things, but the right also had their shares of dumb actions as well. There are two significant events in June 2017. One is where a journalist by the name of Kurt Eichenwald, who is busted watching porn thanks to him posting a picture on Twitter while having an argument with someone. He's really trying his hardest to make excuses after excuses so that he doesn't look like a filthy weeb looking at anime tentacle porn on the internet. I like porn on Twitter and I'm not gonna be ashamed to admit it. I trust someone who is open with their porn preferences instead of someone who tries so hard to dodge the issue by spreading obvious freaking lies. And the second event that I find significant in June was another episode of Anita Sarkeesian. Good god, this channel is turned into Anita Monthly, but can you really blame me when all Anita did was cause drama after drama after drama? There are actually two dramas about Anita this month. One was where she called Sargon a garbage human, and the other one was an old drama I made into a little bit of a visual novel of a fanfiction that she reblogged on Tumblr. A very violent fanfiction at that. Thankfully, this is the last installment of Anita Monthly, as there are infinitely more interesting things in the next couple of months than Anita Sarkeesian. And by interesting, I mean freaking crazy!
So sometimes people will say, you know, playing with himself or jerking off.
Somebody brings up a video game and you engage in conversation.
I know that it's scary, but we have to have these hard conversations.
July is a time where I barely make any videos in the first 10 days, which can probably be explained by how I've made too much videos for the past 2 months. That is until I made a video called High-Tech Fepping, which is a video reading the study about sexual future with robots. Sex robots. Some people may call them the most perfect women, while others might call it misogynistic, and without failure, the latter are just a bunch of jealous feminists. July is also a time where YouTube decided to glitch out and gave me this wonderful subscriber special.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to celebrate 0 subscribers! 0 subscribers! Everybody celebrate it with me. Celebrate with me. 0 subscribers! Today we are going to celebrate the time where I finally have 0 subscribers. 0 subscribers special, Mom!
I don't know why I feel sleepy after you said that.
What 0 subscriber, man? It's 0 subscriber. 0. It needs to be freaking celebrated.
My channel has 0 subscribers all the time.
0 subscribers! Let's celebrate it! Let's celebrate together. So, our channels have 0 subscribers, everybody! Our channel have 0 subscribers! Let's all celebrate it! Let's all be happy together in this wonderful, wonderful moment!
July is also a pretty weird time for me because I'm caught in the middle of drama with one of my favorite YouTubers. One is a video where Total Biscuit blocked me because I disagree with him about traps, and one video is about the Dream Daddy fan artist that got harassed thanks to a bunch of people really not liking her art because it's transphobic or something like that. I don't really know. Other than that, there hasn't been that many interesting events happening in July. Maybe because I don't make lots of videos in that and I missed the first 10 days of it, so let's just go straight to August. Maybe there's something interesting.
You've probably noticed the most popular ones are black people being dramatic. This is digital blackface.
Men have always used science to try to justify why they're better than women.
50% of users of applications these days are women. Wouldn't it make sense for 50% of the developers to be women?
August began with the news that apparently BioWare Montreal is absorbed by EA and that not a lot of people are buying Mass Effect Andromeda as a result. I made a mistake in that video for assuming that BioWare Montreal is the same as BioWare who made Anthem. Well, you can't go throughout these years without constantly making mistakes. August is where the big events start to really kick in. It all started off with Google firing James Damore for the Google memo that is apparently sexist, even though it's just a 10-page memo backed with facts that explain why there aren't a lot of women in tech. I mostly talk about the controversy in 1, an article that talked garbage about Damore at 2, and finally Google's Perspective API at 3, which gives in some pretty hilarious results of what Google considers toxic and isn't toxic. August is also a time where I went back to Marvel after not covering it for a while ever since they decided to shove Indonesian politics. There was a controversy named #MakeMyMilkshake, which is about a bunch of Marvel editors and writers being harassed, and by harassed they mean being called an SJW Tumblrite and a guy wanting to smash her. Wow, that's horrible. Why would someone do such a thing? This has spiraled into a controversy that was pretty damn petty to the point where harassment is being thrown left and right. You can check out the chaos of those events in the description down below. In fact, you can check all of the videos I referenced in the description down below. And speaking of Indonesia, YouTube for some reason decided to use Indonesian YouTubers to show that, hey, we're actually creators driving to make a significant change. Sure, content creators are getting demonetized left and right, but we're going to make a significant change. That honestly really pissed me off, but I made a video spreading a positive message instead. I think that's all for August. September incoming!
You guys already know about this. If you don't, just watch this.
What the Jeez, oh my god, what the Sorry, but what the
September kicks in with a bang thanks to a video by Matt Lees basically wanting to make a Tumblr army. He tells people that gaming is populated by angry, bitter, and disenfranchised people, so the best solution is to introduce more angry, bitter, and disenfranchised people. Except these people are from our side. They're from Tumblr playing Dream Daddy and Undertale, so that's okay. September is also a time where game journalists prove once again that they are absolutely horrendous at video games. I did a live stream basically watching the footage of Dean Takahashi playing Cuphead, and it's so horrendous to the point where pretty much everyone in the gaming community is talking about it. And yes, that 20-minute video is freaking painful.
I think that guy is regenerating, come on! Whoa, watch it! Come on, we're getting new territories here, watch that guy, come on, come on! You made it here with 2 levels, come on! It's a record! It's a gold standard record, come on! No, watch it! Watch it for that! Just, oh my fucking God! God!
No!
By the time I actually get to play Cuphead, the actual game is pretty damn fun. Sure, it's challenging, sure I die a lot, but it's nothing compared to the psychological torture that was the Cuphead gameplay video. One of the videos that I made covering the topic is also one of my most viewed videos of that month, and the follow-up video of that is also pretty successful. I even did a live stream where it took me 4 hours to finish the first island and dying hundreds and hundreds of times because, you know, I suck at video games. September is also pretty polarizing because that was at the time where PewDiePie during his PUBG live stream said the N-word, and that caused so many downward spirals and videos and articles talking about it. But I guess one of the things that I hate about this year is that this proves I shouldn't really open my mouth concerning really getting good in video games, because I am a notorious freaking cheater in every RPG in existence, and that tic-tac-toe gameplay has produced probably one of the loudest screeching that YouTube has ever offered.
I got this.
Gouda moo. I beat you this time.
What? What? I got beaten by a tic-tac-toe! Oh my god! What the
The latest in the long-running shared history between the gaming community and the alt-right. Now, I've heard a lot of people say don't bother using the report feature because it doesn't actually do anything. This can be further from the truth.
I made a lot of videos in October, but that's because October has tons and tons of big events. One of the most notable videos that I made is about the toxicity of the Overwatch community. A very interesting dilemma that Blizzard had to face is the fact that the Overwatch community is both diverse and toxic. Blizzard just doesn't seem to realize that their goal in creating the most diverse and inclusive multiplayer space for everyone also resulted in people being hostile and toxic towards each other, even if they're teammates, especially when you're being put in an environment like Overwatch. It's like putting people in the Hunger Games and expect people not to be angry towards each other. That's just not gonna happen, Blizzard. But October is not just about the Overwatch community. One of October's biggest and most controversial event is #MeToo, as in the hashtag that started thanks to several women filing sexual allegation claims towards Harvey Weinstein. And from that point on, it spiraled all the way to a lot of figures inside Hollywood. I didn't report much on Harvey Weinstein. Instead, I reported Andy Signore's incident, one of the owners of Screen Junkies who own Honest Trailer. In many videos, I've highlighted how a lot of these male feminists are just virtue signaling to people, and by the time they keep on doing it, they're going to be held on the same standards that they put on people, which is unfortunate for them because doing so reveals that most of these people are just horrendous people in general. October is also the time for Halloween, and conveniently it's also Friday the 13th, and in Friday the 13th I celebrated one of my favorite games of this year, Doki Doki Literature Club. And since we're talking about Halloween, of course there are going to be cultural appropriation questions and strict rules in how to not wear problematic Halloween costumes. There are so many interesting events happening in October, but we're gonna have to move on for now.
Oh dear, the Star Wars Battlefront 2 controversies just won't stop coming.
Look at your nose.
November 2017 began with a bang, and that bang is caused by none other than the revelation of Osama bin Laden's freaking hard drive, which revealed that someone somewhere inside his military base is a freaking weeb who loves Nintendo games and watched Naruto. November is, in my opinion, the month of loot boxes. Loot boxes, loot boxes, loot boxes, and the one company that is willing to put its life on the line is EA. Ever since EA announced that Star Wars Battlefront 2 is gonna have pay-to-win loot boxes in the multiplayer right after it already has a $60 price tag, people are so pissed. I don't really want to cover the controversy up again because it's still going on even to this day, not only with EA but also Bungie, although I'm not really sure if it's really Bungie and more Activision. November is also a time where YouTube continues on being a freaking creepy pedo. The reason is because YouTube has hosted so many channels that is child-friendly content like cartoon characters killing themselves. It's pretty freaking brutal and surreal. YouTube tried so hard to take these channels down, but that one already caused another apocalypse 2.0 or 3.0, I forgot which, that caused lots and lots of advertisers to pull off. And now, the final month. But should I really recap a month that just passed?
Why are these numbers on my videos though? Because YouTube's demonetization bot put them there.
December is a time where people talk about fan services again. It all started when some people at Kotaku are mad that Kana from Dragon Maid has lewd scenes with the characters, and by lewd I mean incredibly mild. Then they brought out how Xenoblade Chronicles 2 has Pyra and she has tits, and that's incredibly problematic. One of my most viewed videos here is actually a video where I talk about kawaii culture and its relationship with sexism. And then finally they sparked a lot more controversy with Atlas and its handling of LGBT characters once again with another video that boomed just recently, which is the Kafrid video. But what about the stuff that I just missed? Are there any other stuff on this year that I want to cover, but unfortunately I have to work on my recap video? Well, nothing interesting happening. Oh, you want me to talk about how gaming is now classified as a mental disorder? The article is from MSN with the title, "Gaming Disorder is gonna be named a mental health condition for the first time." The argument is that in certain circumstances, too much gaming can lead to adverse effects. Well, too much anything in life can lead to adverse effects. Your point? The article destroys the entire panic by simply saying that the study did not find a clear link between potential addiction and negative effects on health, and that more research is needed. What kind of study is this? Oh, and the article also sneakily shills ESET. Here's a study of how gamers are being addicted to video games, so buy our antivirus. Regardless of the many dogs and cocks banging in the background, 2017 has been an incredible year. Not only it's a year where I redefined my identity, video style, delivery, and personality, but it's also a time where I gained tons and tons of audiences, and people who will not only watch my videos, but also support my content by either subscribing to me on YouTube, giving great comments, snarky comments, nice criticisms, harsh criticisms, making tons and tons of excellent fan arts, and supporting me financially either through Patreon, PayPal, or Streamlabs. Speaking of donations, I've gotten plenty for the past couple of days. Huge thanks to Dustin and Aris for the donation at PayPal. You guys are fantastic. Huge thanks to our new patron, Uncanny Stage Rage, Pixel Gwyn, and Choppa Choppa Man. Also, huge thanks to all of my patrons who have donated to me on this year, both former and current, and also to the people who donated to me at PayPal or Streamlabs for this year. You guys have made my years more and more awesome. Also, to my subscribers, it's been a great year. I hope that it's also great for all of you guys as well. So what do you think of 2017? Do you think it's a great year or a horrendous one? Let me know in the comments down below. Happy New Year, and let's hope that 2018 is better, crazier, and weirder.